year 2026, but in 1940, the record for running 1 mile was set to 4 minutes, 1 second. Doctors and scientists thought it was dangerous and humanly impossible to run a mile in anything under 4 minutes. But 14 years later, in 1954, that record was broken by a medical student called Roger Bannister. You might have heard of him. Then that record was broken again, not 14 years later, but just 46 days later, by an athlete called John Landy. And then the record was broken again and again and again by people all around the world. Roger Bannister's record is important because he proved that the limitations to breaking that record were not physiological. They were psychological. Sometimes that's what you need. You need a record to be broken, a myth to be busted, for you to see what's possible for you to achieve. That is exactly what Banjara Toastmasters has done in this past term. We have broken every myth, every preconceived notion that people had about us. The first myth that we broke was that we couldn't possibly add more members. People thought that the club was dying. Some people thought it was already dead. We barely had enough members to run our meetings comfortably. We had, at the beginning of the program year, we had 11 members. And in most meetings, Isha would take up about 3 or 4 rows and juggle them. And I used to feel terrible watching that. So when I took over as VP Education, my biggest wish was very simple. I just wanted us to reach a point where she wouldn't have to do that anymore. A point where we didn't have to get role takers from outside, and we could run our meetings with our own members. And most importantly, Isha could take up roles according to her choice and her convenience. And in December 2025, I finally got my wish. We doubled in strength. We reached 20 members, an indicator of a healthy club. Myth number 2, we